What is up, everybody? We are here with Gofa, cartoonist, extraordinaire. Thank you so very much for being here with us tonight. We want to start off by talking about Orc Gym. Where did this come from? Because it was the teaser that you shot was fantastic, and we loved it. Was that you narrating?
No, it was a Carl Kirsch imitating Werner Herzog. Yeah.
Oh, that was so good.
So good, though.
Yeah, I was pretty happy about it. We started filming it, and I didn't know of Carl's talent to do the voiceover. So then he just sent me that like by surprise, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's like level." Like the video is getting a level of quality right now.
Awesome.
I thought it was Werner Herzog. Personally, I was like, "Oh damn!"
Like, man, these guys got money to
Yeah,
get them
right? Come on.
That's how the rich stay rich, man.
That's right. That's right. Man, those pages look so good. I feel like I want to talk so much about Orc Gym, but like the name itself kind of just like sells it. That's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something, dude.
That's a great compliment.
Yeah. How do you come up with that? Are you hitting the gym and you're like, these guys look like orcs, or what's
well, I think you can tell that I go to the gym. Like, I don't have to tell you. Like,
you got that cartoonist physique, you know?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. The dream physique. Well, I actually go to the gym, but yeah, I'm not like obsessed by the gym. I just go once in a while because I like it and it's healthy. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a bodybuilder, but yeah, I always end up like reading a lot about bodybuilding just because I read about sports, and I always been drawing muscles, so because like muscles are just such a huge part of comic books. So just it's not like I had like a specific interest for muscles. Just like my life was always surrounded by muscles somehow. Like so it just became a very fascinating subject, and actually it is fun to like develop muscles for real too. Like I don't know if you guys hit the gym once in a while, but it's a great way to like rediscover like your body. Like it's a fun experience. So yeah, actually, it's kind of weird for me to just promote myself as like, yeah, I like muscles. Muscles are great. Like bodybuilders are great. Drawing muscles are great. But it is like just a subject I'm fascinated about. And yeah, I've always been interested in fantasy and especially orcs. So it just came really naturally with time. Like I've been like trying to make comics about orcs for a while now. My first self-published comic was called Chevalier Bataille, and it's mostly a bunch of orc motherheads, and they're obviously muscular. So they like I like to find them like angle or shapes that are like visually attractive to look at, like a John Buscema comic or something. So it's more like epic kind of orcs than like orcs in Lord of the Rings or something. And then I did a comic called Orc Speed in my first anthology called Dagger. And that was really the beginning of like starting to really write with orc characters, like really getting involved with them, trying to think about them and like their daily life. And yeah, it just came out to me. I was like, oh yeah, orcs like must be working out. Like it must be part of their culture. Like they cannot just be strong. So I came out with this idea where like it's like a medieval structure, but like they're not at war anymore. So like the lords are like gym owners. So like every lord have like a big gym where like the citizen like go train. So that's pretty much it.
That's awesome.
Dang, that's awesome. That's a really good concept, man. I never thought about that. Orcs have to work out. They can't just be naturally strong. Like, oh yeah.
They don't just come out of the pits.
No.
Well, look at Shrek, dude. He's like a fat orc that doesn't work out, man. If he worked out, he'd be all shredded.
Well, I would say they probably have better genetics than like elves or dwarfs or humans, but like they still have to work out. But...
Yeah, you gotta still take care of your temple. Who are some of your influences in?
Yeah, you can't mention any muscles. Or like, is it 90s comics? Were those like your big thing?
Oh yeah, yeah. 90s. It's funny because I wasn't raised with comic books. Like I live in Quebec. Well, I live in Montreal, Quebec. I'm from Drummondville, and like it's we just had like public libraries. There was not like a bookstore, and in public library they only had like Dragon Ball, 1010, and one Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic, and that's pretty much all I read back then. But like rapidly when I started going in comic book stores in Montreal, I really started like going in the 90s comics shelves at $1, like Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee and all that stuff. So yeah, I just really dig the vibe and the energy from these guys. It's been a huge inspiration for me, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with my first book, but my first book is called Dark Angel of Darkness. And in it, I have a small biography where I say my two influences are Rob Liefeld and Akira Toriyama. So I hope I can share that kind of energy in my work.
Well, it's starting to sprinkle in, because when we're looking at the pages for the Orc Gym, we like the little pit you put in the middle of it where they're like wrestling. Like the whole setup, I was telling him, I was like, man, it's actually a pretty legit gym setup, man. There was some thought put into that. So feeling the energy, man. Just keep that going.
Right. Thank you.
Definitely. I really like the compositions on the page too, man. You set up each page, it flows nicely, and your spotting blacks is really bold. I gotta commend you on that, man. I'm seeing a lot of black, and I'm like, damn, he's going for it. I dig that shit. So very good.
Great, thank you. Yeah, my favorite artist, my biggest influence is Alex Toth, and he's really good on blacks and really good on setting the scenes too, so like make the environment believable. So yeah, as much as I like them on a more surface platform, like a tunnel level, I like energy like Rob Liefeld or Dragon Ball. But like on a more like formalistic, like how you build the comic, I'm clearly more influenced by a more conservative artist like Alex Toth, and like European artists who like will use a lot of black shades.
I really like Toth, but I don't necessarily like the Americana subject.
Yeah, me too.
Is there like a Toth book out there that you found that's like hits kind of both?
No, it's always there. Like it's like he's really like he loves Errol Flynn and he loves that kind of stuff, and like I don't mind it, but like it took me a while to realize it was great because of that. Like I wouldn't just look at it. Like I was looking at Moiji and stuff like that, not this American stuff. But you know, at one point I don't see it anymore, and I'm just completely blown away when I open an Alex Toth comic.
So with the very limited amount of comics that you had growing up, what made you choose going into and start making your own? Was it the lack of having your own comics that you wanted to create your own, or was it something that kind of...
That's an interesting question. Well, it's true because like when I was younger, I wasn't thinking of doing comics. I was imagining myself doing animation. Actually, I was imagining myself becoming the next Walt Disney and have my park attraction and shit like that. Obviously, I was just like a kid, but yeah, it was mostly animation because that we like probably had as many TV shows than everywhere else. Like it all get translated. I was like really hooked on that. Batman animated by Bruce Timm and Glenn Murakami. So yeah, but then I went to Sheridan College, which is in the Greater Toronto area, and over there I did a live drawing every 7 days a week for a year, which is amazing. And there was an animation program, and I realized how much work it was, and like how much like it didn't interest me actually because it was like big production, and I was discovering myself more as like an artist. So then I tried fine art, and I really didn't like it, but I enjoyed painting and sculpting. But yeah, so it took me a long time. I ended up working in a comic book shop when I was about my mid-20s, and some pro comic book artists, well, from the Quebec area, will come by and say, "Why don't you do comics?" And that's when it started to get into my head. So it wasn't like, yeah, it's funny, like, because like a comic book pro is not something you meet really often or hear about. It wasn't like something like possible that I could think of. But yeah, it eventually grew on me, and now it's just the only thing I care about. So.
Well, don't give up on the dream of having your own place, man. With Orc Gym, if it's successful, you can always open up a gym that's Orc themed, and there you go.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, actually, that's all a big promotion for my future gym I'm opening.
Man, we gotta take a trip out there, man. We gotta go wrestle in that pit.
What are some books that you're reading right now? Are you able to read any comics with you working on your own?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I mostly read like mangas because like they're easy to read. Yeah, because like when I'm working, I'm trying to not be influenced too much by other work. But so I keep like themes that are close to what I do. So right now I'm reading Berserk, and I'm rereading Dragon Ball for like the 10th time. And I'm keeping it simple because I don't want to break the mood. But usually I will read other stuff too. But yeah, I actually never had read Berserk before, and I was actually like kind of grossed out by it because it was too violent for me. Like I usually do like cute stuff kind of, but like yeah, it's actually really good. So
yeah, there's a reason it's withstand the test of time. Dragon Ball 2, man, Akira Toriyama did it fantastic from the beginning, and it's a good tool or a good reference for world building in such a short, very quick amount of time. So there's a good good tools to have.
Yeah, well, like that's the fun thing with the mangas is like the pace, the thickness of those books. Like they can always like let themselves like do what they want for a while. Like they can be like 20 pages where it's just like about a small event, and like it's not a problem. Only in a comic book, they're like, well, you just did a whole comic book for that small event. So there's something really light and easy about manga that like you cannot have, I think, in European comics or American comics. If they do that in a French or American comics, it would be like considered indie, because it would be like, oh, it's not a whole story. And so yeah, I always find like that's an advantage for Japanese, because like they can really build a world, really extend, like really stretch it. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to like try to make comics for the Americans, because I have to think in a different mindset, and I'm trying to like do what I want to say with the least panel possible, which is like very constraining, I find, but it's also interesting. Because my first book is Dark Angel of Darkness. Like they just did do as many pages as you want, like write whatever you want. So I just did 200 pages and not think about it. I think there's a few problems in it. I think that's a problem. I wish like I had more constraint, but like it was very different process than right now, where I'm actually thinking about every panel, because like, oh, that panel could be like a waste. I could do another panel that would be more informing about my world, my character.
So when it comes to creating, when it comes to creating, when you're sitting down to do a lot of these projects, do you write the script out first? Do you do layouts first, or do you just start drawing and then figure out the rest as you go along?
I used to do the last that you said, like, and that was a problem. Like
go back. What is he supposed to say here as he's flying in the air?
Yeah, exactly. Well, my book Dark Angel of Darkness, like the setup was like it's like it's just in the future. It's a post-apocalyptic future where everybody fusion together. So it's like Mad Max meet Dragon Ball meet X-Force kind of universe, and yeah, there was like I was just like kind of like sabotaging myself all the time, because I will like build up like ideas and be like, oh, I'm tired of that idea now, so I will just like, let's move on. And I had to edit myself as I went along, and I ended up with a 180 pages book, but there's another 60 pages that like is just like not used because it didn't make sense in the story. So and I was like writing the dialogues, and like I will actually like will make a pages and feel like, oh, that pace is fun, and have no idea what the dialogue was. And I will like maybe like a few months later had some dialogue. It was a really weird process that that like actually like a lot of people like the book, so I think like it's fine and it makes it unique, and I enjoy myself, and I think it was necessary for me to go through there, because to just write a script, it's like a homework for an artist. Like I don't want to be stuck with these ideas, and it's constraining too, because like most of my ideas will be visual. I started working with a writer, Patrick Hinland, the writer of Frontiersmen at Image Comics.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, he's good. And we made a Kickstarter for a comic called Red Pale Dot, and it's like Total Recall meet Star Fox kind of comic. It's a detective story, and it's fun. I like it, but like I feel a lot less good because I'm always like constrained by like what's supposed to happen. While when I do the comic alone, like I can like cheat a bit and be like, oh well, I will extend that for 2 pages and see where it goes. But like it's still a problem to just do it like that, because you end up with like 60 wasted pages. So, but with Orc Gym, being the writer myself, like I can kind of be in between these two situations. So I think it's the best situation for me right now. So I've wrote a lot, but I haven't wrote everything. And I keep like editing and changing stuff. Talking about all that, I have a 200-page comic that I will never publish because it makes really no sense. Like from page 1 to 200, it's just me like being painted in a corner and be like, oh, this doesn't work. But like I was just like having so much fun. Like it was an MMA vampire comic, and like Frankenstein monster was like super depressed and alcoholic, and there was like sea-doos, and like, but I would just keep like adding stuff non-stop. And I was like, well, I mean, I have like 20 characters, like I have to solve what happened with them, otherwise it will be like frustrating. And like, but I just kept like adding new stuff and like drawing whatever I want. And so I did that for like 2 years, and like I think it was necessary for me, but like I'm done with that process. Like I'm trying to be a bit smarter about it.
Well, how did you describe it? Universal Monsters MMA?
Kind of, yeah, exactly. That's it.
Be released, man.
Let's get another 200 pages. We'll call it a graphic novel. Yeah.
Well, I kind of want to do it like I just got this idea like 2 days ago, and I will be revisiting that after Orc Gym. And yeah, it will be like an MMA vampire comic, but like a bit inspired by Ponyo by Miyazaki, like a sort of like mystical love story. Like we'll see how it goes.
Very cool. How do you come into doing the anthology work? Cry Punch was fantastic. I really enjoyed that.
Thanks. It's a lot of work. Yeah, just like I chat a lot with a lot of different artists out there, and most of these really talented artists are like unknown and not making a living, and like also like I kind of relate to them, but like we're all kind of not good businessmen, and we're like all just not good to sell ourselves. And so like it's silly, but like I just asked them if they wanted to be part of it, and they were like, yeah, sure. So it's not like in the professional industry where like I mean people are already super busy, don't have time, and like you need to pay them well, and like hopefully we for the first anthology we were able to pay the artist, but the second anthology we end up short it and nobody got money. So, you know, it's not like a really good story. But also, you know, they're all like my work too, so I guess like that contributed to them to be down to participate to that. But yeah, hopefully in the future when I'll be more organized, I'll be able to do more anthologies and like maybe pay an advance the artist, but that's like for I don't know when.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was recently part of a Kickstarter, and man, it's tough getting everybody organized and doing everything on the same page sort of thing. So
yeah,
you know, hats off to you on that. That's
thank you.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's very different than just do art on your own. Like I mean, I was like collaborating with people, so it was good.
Is that kind of like where the Lethal Comics comes from? Are you running that or
no? It's Andy Belanger who is running that with Call Felch. Okay. But they got familiar with my work through the anthologies, and they kind of wanted to do the same. It's just like they live in Montreal. It's just like us guys who like have similar tastes and want to do the same stuff, but they already started and they had more success than me, and I won't be alone. Okay, sure, I'll come in. And so at one point, I told them my idea for Orc Gym, and they just said, let's do it. But yeah, they want to do more anthologies, and so maybe it will happen sooner than I expected.
So when you're saying, you know, we're not really good businessmen, what do you guys do at least to try and promote the work, like Instagram, or what else do you guys push?
Well, when I say we, I meant me and like most of the artists I work with, we're like all indie artists, and I guess we all have our own journey and we're learning. But lately, I've been realizing I wasn't that serious. Like I thought I was serious because I really believed in it and I worked hard, but like there was something where I wasn't like focused enough on how to be smart, and like I guess I was victimizing myself a bit, like, oh, editors are stupid, like, or shit like that. Like, but like, it's pointless, and like, so I'm just like trying to grow up and find ways to communicate with the people that will help me accomplish what I want to do. So, you know, like when in the last 3 years, I've sent maybe 6 projects to editors, like American and French editors, and they all got refused. And I would think, well, they're dumb and like they're conservative and like they don't know what they're talking about. At one point, I was like, oh, maybe it's my writing and like maybe like it's weird, maybe I should work on that. And but I don't think that's that. It's more that like they haven't felt like I was taking them seriously. And so there's like it's like if you go for a job, you need to take the place you're gonna work at and the future boss like seriously. So I think it's too easy on internet to just send your PDF file of your comic and like write some short email. So I'm trying to not do that anymore and just like take them seriously, like develop a relation with them and like show that you care. And yeah. So I think it's I don't know if I can speak for all indie artists, but I think that's like totally maybe one issue that like most of us have.
But that, yeah, and it seems to be common. We've spoken to a few indie comic creators, and that's kind of the same. You know, you can either, like you said, blame and say, you know what, the editors don't know what they're talking about, or you can just take the rejections and keep going, keep developing your work, keep developing your style, and eventually people take notice, man. Good work always shines through. It's always like that one project that you do that other people end up coming, like we were lucky enough when you sent us over the PDF, we're scrolling through, we're just like, man, this looks good. It's just a matter of time before other people find it. So just never be discouraged. Just keep going, keep working at it. You know, it's like it's like going to the gym, man. You're gonna get hurt sometimes. You're gonna pull a muscle. You can't quit though. You got to recover, keep going. And so I think you have the right attitude, man. It's just a matter of hopefully soon, or you know, more people get word of your work. And having the Kickstarter, I know we were seeing that you guys had a few big names on there.
Well, we have a Bruno Selig. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but I'm a big fan of his. I think a lot of people got to know him because he sometimes colors Pulpo's work, mostly for covers. That's how I discovered him actually. And he has a similar style to Pulpo, just more cartoony kind. So I'm pretty happy about that cover. And I don't know if I should say it, but like I'm supposed to have a Tradmore cover really soon, which is pretty fucking wild. So yeah.
He's been on our short list for like awesome creators for a while, man. He's so good. Yeah, so
he keeps blowing our minds.
I was so happy when I saw him doing the Doctor Strange. Like that character fits his style so well. Like, you know, I feel like Marvel doesn't necessarily always do like interesting stuff like with their characters, but letting him kind of go wild was very cool to see.
Well, he did a great job on Silver Surfer. So.
Yeah.
But you'd think like he reached his peak with Silver Surfer, and then he comes out with Doctor Strange. Like, oh, okay.
Keeps moving that bar. He keeps raising the bar though, so everybody else. Yeah. We gotta keep reaching for that.
Yeah. No, it's fun when inspiring artists like that keep producing. Like it motivates everyone for sure. And yeah, concerning Marvel, I really don't understand how this industry works. But what I would think is that like some editors are more like wild than others, and like it's just so. It's like maybe out of 10 editors, there's 9 that don't care for Tradmore, but there's 1 who cares for Tradmore. So that's because of him or her that like we get it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like who's the editor of Batman Year 100? Like let's find this person and like ask them to publish other stuff like that. Like there's just...
That's true.
They're fired.
Yeah, they're fired. They've been fired. Yeah.
How dare you think outside the box?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what's like? I really like. I've been on a Discord with other writer and artists that are all in the industry, and it's been really enlightening because I realized how much I don't care about that stuff because of them, and how I wasn't meant for like the industry in a way. Like, I still want to get in it, but I'll be an alien or something because they care so much. They know all the editors. Like, they know the name of the editors. Like when someone gets hired, like Boom Comic just hired that editor, they're like, oh, that editor is great. Like what? Like I never thought about that before. Like to me, an editor was the whole studio. Like, but actually they're like various different people. And what I've understand, their life expectancy is not that long too. So like maybe there's a cool editor you like, but 10 years later that person is completely out of the industry. Well, anyway, that's fascinating because I never thought about that stuff before.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's the whole, what do you call it, the network building and meeting everyone, getting yourself out there. So
yeah. So much of that happens off the page though, and
yeah,
I mean, I just want to see great art. I want to read great stories, you know.
Yeah, I know it. It's like kind of like how do you say that in English? It's like you have to accept it, and it's hard. Like when you lose a close one. How do you call that? Like.
How do you cope with it?
How do you cope?
Coping. Yeah, like it's a coping process. You're like, okay, these people are not there so much for the art. They're there for other reasons. But I'm doing all these sacrifices in the name of art. So am I an idiot or something? It's like it's kind of the coping process that you have to go through. So like, at one point, it's like, well, that's normal. That's the whole life. Like I'm sure that like there's like a hospital director somewhere who had the choice between hiring their neighbor, who's a really good guy that they like, or the best surgeon in the world. And they might have hired an Herbert that they really like because they drank a beer yesterday and like he did this really fun joke. So I'm like it's just like the way we are.
Damn Nepo babies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, let's not go there too much.
All right, man. If we make it big, we'll hire you. We got you.
Okay, yeah. Same here.
Just laugh that one time.
So did you really kill 52 people in LARPing?
Oh, where did you read that?
I read that in one of your bios on one of your books.
That's hilarious. Wow, good research. Good research. Yeah, I did. But like the thing with LARPing stories is that like everybody has like an amazing LARPing story. So it's like I'm kind of suspicious of LARPing stories, but mine is true though. I did kill 52 person in a LARP event. It was a lot of fun. All that with just a small knife, and
Nice.
yeah. And I was a kilt. I was in chest with a kilt and a small knife, attacking people bare feet in the wood. It was fun.
Wow. That's awesome.
Should do that as a comic. And then it sounds like...
Well, yeah. We had that. I had 2 other friends who were doing the same, and we were called Paul, Pierre, and Pierre Paul, and we all had a knife, and we were called the 3 Knives. And I've been like, oh, I'm gonna do a 3-knife comic one day, but I don't think it will happen. Have you guys been LARPing at one point in your life?
No, I've only seen it in movies. In that one movie, Role Models. That's the only time I saw LARPing.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes you a LARPer, I think, when you've seen the movie Role Model, isn't it?
Officially, you're an honorary LARPer.
I think LARPing is pretty big in the States, right? Here in Quebec, it's like there was one place.
Oh no.
I think it is, but we just
we're
haven't
Maybe not in
found
this
it.
area.
Maybe.
because we're in Orange County.
Mm.
And California.
Yeah.
Everyone's too busy shopping around here.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah,
Bring some swords to the mall. What do you think?
Get shot.
Oh, God.
yeah.
go.
Drummondville was like winter and like 70,000 citizens, and there was a good metal music scene and LARPing and a lot of weed. That was pretty much Drummondville. Yeah.
Sounds
Well,
awesome.
people were driving a lot in their cars and like meeting and parking. So.
Yeah.
Are you listening to metal when you're drawing, or do you like?
I used to, yeah. I used to be into metal a lot. I don't know. Time made me. I think I'm getting older. Like I'm listening less metal. Like now I'm like listening to David Bowie, not metal anymore.
Oh no!
Well, it's somewhat glam rock, right? It's kind of like.
Space Oddity.
Yeah.
I when I did Dark Angel of Darkness, I was listening a lot to Hawkwind.
Oh, yeah.
Hawkwind? Yeah. Like Warrior of the Hedge of Time was pretty much the album on repeat. Like,
Very good. I love that.
yeah.
So is it David Bowie you're listening to when you're doing Orc Gym, or is it something?
No. Well, you know what, the music you listen to, well, I listen to when I draw has to be like kind of like more ambient. So War of the Hedge of Time, it worked because it's more ambient of an album, but David Bowie is not really ambient. So I guess I'm listening to a lot of it has nothing to do with Orc Gym. But like it's been like years I've been listening to him. It's called Susumu Yokota. It's like house techno Japanese 90s music. Pretty good. So yeah, it's just so smooth and like energizing.
I'm gonna add that to the playlist. We'll see.
Yeah, you should. At one point he called himself Ebi, and he did an album called Zen, Ebi Zen. It has a lot of energy in it. I think you might like it. Ebi Zen, like for guys into metal. I mean.
No, I like it all, man. I'm not like a metal purist, you know. Like
Yeah.
It's gotta be fucking dark, you know. I like it all.
Well, what else? Well, if we're Sam Hain was an album. I was listening a lot of Sam Hain when I was doing it, Dark Angel of Darkness.
Cool.
And any movies that influence you?
Oh, man, that's a big. That's a huge subject. I don't know if we can go there.
Oh,
I like that.
He's like, how much time you got, buddy?
I really love Howard Hawks, the director of Rio Bravo. It is probably his most popular movie with John Wayne. Howard Hawks he's been doing movies from the silent era to the 60s. And most of his movies have are about group dynamics and about men who are professional in their field, which is usually a dangerous and physical field. So in Rio Bravo, it's like it's a sheriff and his sheriff assistant. But it's my favorite film of his is called Only Angels Have Wings from 1939, and it's with Cary Grant, and it's a bunch of air pilot, flying pilot, like how do you call it? Guy who flies a plane.
Pilot, yeah.
Yeah, pilot. Yeah, thank you. And but like they're it's in the 30s, and like they're doing that in South America, so it's dangerous, and like so it's about them like dealing with their life. And then there's this girl who's a tourist who's trapped there, and she falls in love with Cary Grant, but she wants him to like not live this dangerous life, and she doesn't understand how like tough they are. And so it's about like discovering how they manage to be these tough guys. So most of the Howard Hawks films are always about these group dynamics of really specialized professional manly men. And I dig all of his movies, recommend them all. And so this guy has been a really big influence for me. And because without noticing myself, when I was starting to write and making comics, I started to make mostly comics about a bunch of dudes, and like their dynamics and what makes them strong, and what makes them good friends, and what's their problems and stuff like that. Most of my stories are always about that now.
He did the original Scarface, right?
Yeah, really good movie. Really recommend it. Yeah.
Definitely. Do you find yourself going like kind of back into like early film history when you're watching, or do you like modern stuff too?
I try to stay open to whatever, but like, yeah, I most of my favorite filmmakers are older filmmakers because like I like the genre theme a lot. Like I like action and like original universe, and commercial movies of today I try to watch them, but like I don't really enjoy them. Um, and there's a lot of contemporary filmmakers that I like, but it's always about like a sad dude or like a couple who can find love or stuff like that. And it's great because they're good movies, but they're not my favorite subjects and universe. But like if you watch older movies, like there's a lot of directors that I like that were exploring genre themes. So I always end up watching old movies because I can get both in those.
Man, that's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to make you spill the beans or whatever, but do you where do you find like the older cinema? Do you have friends or a professor, or how do you find all that?
Yeah. Well, there's so many films, and I didn't realize there were that many movies. And then when I start getting into those older movies, I discovered there are like the equivalent of Netflix, but for all movies. And there's like the most popular one is Criterion Channel, which is also a DVD collection company. Who've been like releasing a lot of old movies. And they actually do nice covers. They usually go get like comic book artists and stuff like that. Those covers. And they're really open-minded. Like they've released Police Story 1 and 2 by Jackie Chan, which is an amazing movie. But kind of cool because like they're kind of like a high-end DVD collection, but then they release Police Story. So, there's also Mubi, MUBI, which is another good channel for like independent and old movies. But yeah, actually I've discovered through my best friend Maxime Gérin, which is also a comic book artist that I highly recommend, and he's in Pride Hunt and Dagger. And he made me discover a film critic named Dan Salit, who's also a filmmaker. And that's when I started like discovering more movies, and I discovered my favorite director, Howard F. And he has a whole website with all his favorite movies. And I really think he's like really he's kind of a saint because like he sees through everything. Like he's not like, oh, I prefer this. Like I'm not there yet. Like I will. There's some films that just because of the subject appeals to me more, I will like more than others. But he's like the film could look like crap. It could be like about like the toughest subject ever. And like you will find like TV direct-to-TV family movies about a talking dog, like good if it's good is in his opinion. He's not like a snub or something. So, and he has a blog where like he shares his thoughts on cinema, and I really think he's like mind-opening for like film writing and film structure. Essentially, his whole idea is like is about naturalism, that like a film is a documentation of reality, and it has to reflect that. But you know, he's really open-minded because he considered the first Avengers by what's his name? Yeah, exactly. He considered that movie really good, but refused all the other Marvel. But to me, that's interesting. He's like, oh, the guy seems like he has something he sees in these movies. It's not just like, oh, I don't like Marvel movies or I like Marvel movies. Yeah. Dan Salet, highly recommend it. Really opened my mind to a new kind of like way to think about movies. Yeah.
I think we're all into movies here, so that's definitely gonna look into that. Damn, dude, why orcs? Why not elves? Why not dwarves?
Well, I come back to the theme of muscle. I really like the whole. I actually like when I draw like the most. I don't know if you guys have been like drawing and try to improve or like, but like I find it like when I start like being more self-conscious about what I do and what I expect from drawing. Like I realized there were things that were like a lot easier for me than others. Stuff that were boring me and like And like it took me a while to get into tech, like being able to draw tech. And even there, I think like I'm most of the time just like doing it faster than I should. And now I'm starting to love doing backgrounds, which took me a while, but now I truly love it. And but muscle always was like an automatic. If like I was not trying to be a comic book artist, I would just be like drawing tons and tons of muscles, like abstract bunch of muscles and put them on a paint and say this is art. So yeah, so any character that like the main appeal was muscle, like became just like a reflex from my stories. So yeah, if it's not orc, it's gonna be something who's like supposed to be muscular. Like when I start working with like a writer, trying to find a collaborator, I was like, make sure that they're muscular. Like I want to draw muscles. And some of them will literally give me a script where like you're following a small girl in a t-shirt. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Like there could be one hanging out somewhere, but like it mostly has to be a bunch of muscular dudes. Like. And it's not even like because I think like the whole well should be filled with muscular dudes. It's just because I like drawing them. That's it. Like,
well, you know what you like to draw, and you're gonna actually care about drawing it. So
yeah, of course, it will be faster too. It's just like if the page is like 5 muscular dudes on the beach, that's gonna be like an hour to draw that, and it's gonna be my best drawing. But then if like you had like a dog and a girl and like a car, oh man, it's gonna take me like 2 days, and it's gonna look like shit.
Just trace that car off, dude. Don't fucking bother.
So if Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone,
Dolph Lundgren,
if they ever wanted to do a comic about their life, we know who to send them.
That's
like,
right.
Yeah, please, I want that gig, man.
That's awesome, man.
Where can people find you?
My work, you mean? Like, well, there's the Kickstarter on that's on my Instagram biography. Yeah, I should be doing a website before doing all these interviews because I would build to that website. But you know, everybody has Instagram, so I'll go Gofa Comics on Instagram. That's where the most public. That's where you're gonna see all my feeds.
Perfect. We'll put a link to that down below and a link to the Kickstarter as well.
Great.
Any advice for any kids wanting to be artists, cartoonists?
Good question. I like that question. Yeah, because it's a really well, I don't know, like life is hard in general, so I don't want to complain. But it's my own journey. It's the journey I'm living. So, but I find it really like confusing and more difficult than I expected. I felt like when I was younger that I would just be like recognized for my art and passion. That's it, and that's not how it goes. But that's okay. So yeah, just not lose hope and just keep doing it. Yeah.
This is totally irrelevant, but maybe cut this. But Al, is that an inkle tattoo on your hand?
Oh yeah, it is.
That's fucking badass, dude. Oh, I love Mobius. That's so cool.
Oh yeah, he's brilliant.
Right on. Well, dude, I'm so glad you came on, hung out with us tonight. Everybody should definitely check out Orc Gym and all your other work. I highly recommend. There's a soft cover I saw on Amazon, and Pew has also got some more of your work. But yeah, please support the Kickstarter.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much for having me, guys. It was a pleasure to talk with all of you.